this week, you may be paying more to fill up your tank after Beryl hit us. Right now, the average cost of regular grade gas in Houston is $3.15 a gallon. Just a week ago, it was 5 cents cheaper, and a month ago, it was 15 cents cheaper.
So to learn what's causing the increase, we're talking with Doug Shupe from AAA Texas. Good morning. Thanks for coming in studio.
Good morning. Thanks for having me in today.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of times storms in the Gulf do play a part. I mean, is Beryl having an impact on our prices?
It's a question that was on a lot of people's minds, but fortunately, Beryl caused very limited damage to Gulf Coast energy facilities. So that was the good news, because we certainly had a lot of other problems from that storm. However, had that storm gone a little more north, maybe been a little stronger, we could have been talking a very different tune. So what we're seeing is the increase right now is more because of the increase in crude oil prices, which is now still above $80 per barrel. So that's the biggest reason why we saw the price increase in the last week.
It wasn't a direct impact from the hurricane.
Not at all. Not at all. But that's still the big X factor, right? I mean, it's something we always want to watch, because, you know, a stronger storm going in a different direction, more north in the Gulf, could really be a very different story.
Because why? Because it means all those people working out on those rigs have to leave them?
You've got more production facilities. You've got more potential refineries that could be impacted. And so we, you know, dodged a bullet with this one.
In terms of
gas prices.
Right,
absolutely.
exactly.
What about, you know, we did see long lines for people trying to fill up their tanks, and then people were needing fuel for generators. Has that mostly gone away? Is it pretty easy to for gas to be accessible right now?
Yeah, as the power came back on, you know, the problem with that is when the power goes out is getting the supplies to the actual stations. But we haven't seen that as much recently as the power has started to come back on. So, you know, of course, there's been ample supply. That was never the concern. It was just getting that supply to the gas stations during those power outages.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that is a concern. Now, I feel like I hear from so many people, I'm buying a generator, and I'm not buying a gasoline generator. I'm buying the one that hooks up to the natural gas in my house.
Right.
Like all these things, because they were worried about how many times you're having to go refill.
Lessons that we learn after these storms, right? And people say, hey, how am I going to do this differently to make the situation better for my family and my situation? And so, you know, unfortunately, it's a hard lesson that a lot of people had to learn, but, you know, it's tips that they'll take and hopefully be better prepared for the next storm. You know, it's inevitable at some point we may have another one, unfortunately. You know, it's not a matter of if, but when.
Right.
Yeah. So what should people be concerned about that moving forward? Because hurricane season kind of only just started, and we've already seen one. Anything that you would suggest they do now that we're kind of in a lull? Yeah,
you know, certainly, you know, if there is the next storm this season, you want to make sure that your gas tank is, go ahead and fill it up ahead of time.
Keep it full.
Keep it full, right? You know, a lot of people may had to rush out, realize, you know, I didn't have as much fuel as I thought in my gas tank. So that's always something to keep in mind.
Okay, good idea.
Making sure you always top it off.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we know we're pretty fortunate, because it seems like Houston prices are always a little bit lower. Texas prices for sure. I mean, how are we comparing right now with this increase? Has that been a regional increase, or it's still elevated everybody?
It's elevated everybody, because it is the price of crude oil. But we're still in good shape here in Texas. You know, even though our prices are about 5 cents higher than a week ago, they're roughly about the same price as they were last year at this time, and they're about 37 cents less than the national average, the Houston prices. So, you know, even though they have gone up a little bit, we're still paying significantly less than what drivers are paying on average nationwide.
Everywhere else.
Are there even more ways that people could be saving on gas prices right now?
Yeah, great question. We've got, of course, a lot of people still planning to take a summer road trip. So the one thing you want to do is maintain that vehicle, including tire pressure. If you're driving on underinflated tires, you're just wasting money. Lighten the load of your vehicle. Don't use your vehicle as a storage unit, right? So if you have heavy items, boxes of paperwork from the office, golf clubs from the weekend, and you don't need them for your drive, get them out of the vehicle. The heavier the vehicle is, the more you're paying to drive it around. Use a window sun visor to help lessen the heat buildup in your car, or park in the shade so your AC doesn't have to work as hard to cool it off and burn as much fuel when you get back inside. And you know, the other thing you want to do is shop around for the cheapest gas prices, because there's a big difference. You can find a station right across the street that may be selling for 10, 15 cents less per gallon. We don't recommend you drive far out of your way way searching. But AAA Texas members can download the AAA app. It'll tell you which gas stations are closest to you. Obey the speed limit. Not only for your safety, but the faster the vehicle is moving, the more fuel you're burning.
Yeah, all really good tips. I mean, it always shocks me whenever you see some of the gas stations, particularly like right on the highway, because I think they know that the people might have to get.
Right.
I'm like, who goes there and pays like 45 cents more?
The folks that may be on fumes, right? And one other tip, before heading out on that long road trip, try to pack everything in the vehicle, in the trunk of your vehicle, instead of using those overhead luggage carriers.
Is it aerodynamic?
They create drag and reduce your fuel efficiency. So if you can, pack everything inside your vehicle.
Yeah, never thought of that. Doug Shupe, always good to have you here. You give great tips. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me in today.